Hello, and welcome to Old Toy, New Joy, the show where I share with you my previously enjoyed toys I purchased from online sources, thrift stores, and collector's shows that once belonged to someone else. Well, as you can see, I just got back from shopping at one of my favorite local thrift stores, and I got a really nice mix of stuff to share with you today. So, let's get started. And I've talked about lunchboxes before. I still haven't done a lunchbox video, but if I see an interesting lunchbox, I will grab it. And although it sort of has more of a retro vintage look, this lunchbox is only about 20 years old of Scooby-Doo. Hard plastic. And then here we have a mini tin lunchbox, which you see a lot the last 10 years. They've been making these again, sort of as a niche collectible thing. And this is of Snoopy and Woodstock and his buddies from Peanuts. And this is made within the last 10 years. And here's another toy with a real retro look, but actually the toy is only about 5 years old. This is a mini Space Invaders game by Taito. And I was showing this to Jellybean, trying to explain to her that back in the day, when I was a kid, you would have been this big, standing in front of an arcade game and playing this arcade game with your quarters, while a row of kids waited impatiently behind you for you to lose your game so they could take their turn. But I think she grasped the concept, but she did enjoy playing with it, that's for sure. I do like when the batteries in these things are so good and I don't have to take them apart to change out batteries. And then we have a couple of Motu HeMan Masters of the Universe action figures. I already do have a HeMan, but I couldn't resist picking this guy up as well because he had more of the armor on him than mine. And it's HeMan. I mean, come on, it's HeMan. I believe these are from 1980. I can't remember, is it 81 or 82? I should have looked that up, sorry. And now my eyes are so bad I can't even read the back. This is the one I really wanted, and I just found him a little too expensive for my taste on eBay, and I never saw him at collector's shows, so I was very happy to find him at a thrift store. This is Beastman, and again, he's got a bunch of his armor. Often this piece is missing, and they came with a lot of accessories. Those are always missing, but it's a good shape. HeMan. And then these things are kind of weird, but I couldn't resist. We have an unopened, unused stack of party napkins featuring Flash Gordon, and I thought that was just really weird. I think these are about 30 years old, even though Flash Gordon was more popular 40 years ago. I couldn't help it. I know, I'm never going to use them or anything, but I just thought it was really cool and random. And similarly, a couple of unused, unopened birthday party tablecloths of Superman. This one's from about 1990. And this one's from 1984. And it's like, I don't understand why it was never used. Like, maybe somebody bought two by accident, or grandma brought one, or dad grabbed one and put it out first, and mom didn't get to put out this one, so they just packed it away and it never got used. And here it is. And you can feel like they're a lot sturdier than the ones you find at the dollar store now. Like this, you would have been able to wipe it off and probably reuse it if you really wanted to for a party. The ones today just get torn up so easy. If they're plastic and if they're paper, forget about it. You spill some juice on there, they're done. I just love that. Love that look. Classic Superman. And continuing on with the theme of Superman, here's a 1997 calculator / mouse pad. Again, still in the package. Nobody used it. But I like this because in the 90s, Superman had long hair, which is always weird to me. The DC Comics Superman had a different look for a little while, and then they cut it again. And I often talk about finding baggies of toys and Hot Wheels and things. This is what I'm talking about. Go bag them up and stick them on the wall for a few dollars. And usually, you'll peek through there and you'll see there's one or two that you want, but you got to buy the whole bag. But still, it's not too terrible to spend a few dollars for a bunch of old Hot Wheels and Matchbox and the like. So let's just take a look and see what we have here. I won't talk about all of them, maybe just the ones that sort of jump out at me. So I believe this is a Corgi spider copter, and I had one of these when I was a kid. I don't know what happened to it. And mine also had some broken sort of legs, but the windshield on this one is in really good shape, better than I remember mine being. So that was pretty cool. And I think that's from like 1979, 1980, because that's when I had mine. Here's a Hot Wheels 57 Chevy. I already had it. This is a 1976 Spoiler Sport. I did not have this, and I've always sort of wanted this one. So this is one of the main reasons why I purchased that bag of die-cast cars. This, I've never seen this before. This is a G.I. Joe Jeep. Just trying to see what it says on the bottom here. Looks like 1983, and it looks like it's missing probably like a turret or some kind of gun at the back. But I'd never seen that before, so that's cool. I don't even know what this is. I can't even make out what this one is. First I thought maybe it was some sort of Porsche or something, but I don't think so. And then this looks like a Roger Dodger. Chrome series Roger Dodger, probably from the late 70s or around 1980. That's pretty cool. And then this I was very excited about because I had this as a child and then it disappeared. It didn't make it back with the rest of my Hot Wheel collection after I moved. And this is an airport rescue sort of fire truck. I never understood it as a child. I didn't understand that foam was supposed to come out here, and it was always kind of a weird thing to me. But this one's from 1979, and yeah, I had the same thing when I was little. And then we have this 1983 Hot Wheels carrying case, and I had never seen this before. It looks like an engine block. Very cool. Very cool indeed. And as you can see, I've already put a bunch of cars in it from around the same time period, my 1980s Hot Wheels. So it holds 20 cars. Not bad. A lot of carrying cases either carried 24 or 48, but the vinyl ones. But for a plastic carrying case, this is a pretty unique and imaginative idea. So, and again, I'd never seen it before, so I learned something new. And here we have a Milton Bradley Smurfs board game from 1982. Papa Smurf always says. And as you know, I'm a big fan of the Smurfs, and the Smurfs were a big part of my childhood. Anyone who grew up in the early 1980s saw the Smurfs everywhere. It was on TV, there was toys and things, and obviously there was a board game. We have not played this yet, of course, because we just got it. And look, somebody put a Smurf poster in here. I don't think that originally came with the game. Somebody was a Smurf fan. Probably had that up in their room for a few years. Probably missing some pieces here, but here's the main part of the board, and then you can see there's like a little backdrop. So there's a whole little Smurf Village set, so you'd set that up on the game. It's neat because these look like they're right out of the cartoon. They're very well done. Totally reminds me of the show. And got some pieces here and a die. And like I say, we're probably missing some pieces here. Here's one of the player pieces. I guess you just put them in here. But we'll get around to playing it. But just something else that's pretty cool that I just had to grab. First, we'll talk about the books and magazines that I got, because I do look at books and magazines, and every once in a while I see something that interests me. Here we have a couple of modern Priscilla magazines from the 1920s, and I didn't know anything about these, so I did some research. I always like to learn. Basically, Modern Priscilla was a magazine that was put out in the late 1800s and early 1900s during the women's suffrage movement. And these magazines came out just a few years after women won the right to vote. And while most of the articles feature stories and information about cooking and embroidery and sewing and things like that, really the magazine tried to encourage women to use their skills to develop more business-oriented propositions, to actually earn money for themselves using their cooking and seamstress skills. I often do see National Geographic magazines at thrift stores, but usually not quite this old. We've got one from 1952 and one from 1967. And yeah, a lot of the information is dated in that, but I do love looking at the pictures, and especially when they show things like simple things like car ads that we have today, but kind of give you an idea of what cars look like back then, like the Studebaker. And they always have beautiful, colorful pictures, no matter what year they're from. National Geographics have some of the best photography ever. Very nice. That's what a camera looked like. Crazy. Nice big station wagon. Used to see these on the road all the time. And here we have a couple of model railroader magazines from the 1960s. And inside it lists all the different scale model engines and passenger cars and things that you could buy for your hobby. Put together your little miniature railroad set. And as soon as I saw this cover, it took me back to the early 1980s. I lived in a house with a huge basement. My grandfather lived close by, and he used the basement to set up a model railroad set. And he put huge tables in there, and then out of plasticine and paper mache, he built mountains and valleys and a big balsa wood bridge, and then laid the track and purchased some model trains. And you could actually stand in the middle of all the tables and watch the train chugging along, going through a tunnel over the bridge, past the mountains. It was really, really cool. And here's another really old magazine. This one is called the Etude. It's a music magazine mostly geared towards classical piano players, students, and teachers. And so there's some advertisements in there and some actual music, sonatas and things. So maybe it's not just for piano, it's for various instruments now that I look at it. And what's really interesting is, so this one's from 1937, but the price of this magazine was 25 cents. And Jelly Bean and Marshmallow have a hard time wrapping their heads around that. But I try to explain to them it's all relative, but back in the 20s and 30s, 25 cents was like 5 to 10 bucks now. And they just can't grasp the concept that you could buy a meal with 25 cents. Now you can't get anything with 25 cents. Usually you'd find that in between your couch cushions or on the floor of your car. But a little bit of a history lesson for them nonetheless. And I've always been a sucker for toy guides. Doesn't matter when they're from. I don't really care about the pricing. I care more about the information. Because even the internet today doesn't have all the information and variations on certain collectibles. So it's kind of nice. You have to piece it together from different sources. And so this one is dedicated to science fiction collectibles. So there's comics and action figures and artwork and things like that in here. This one is one of those sort of all-encompassing antique toy guides, and they don't go into great comprehensive detail or anything, but again, it's just nice to see what they consider sort of valuable or worth talking about. They list a lot of the Hotwheels in here, most of the color variations on the red lines, but not all of them. They show you the Matchbox and Dinky toys and things like that, and then some things of interest like old tin robots and train sets and things like that. A lot of things which I could never afford to have, but it's kind of nice to know about them. And then I love Lee's toy review. They're not available. I don't think they're available in Canada anymore, so you don't see them in bookstores. And again, this one's 11 years old, but I do really enjoy the Hot Wheels guides. And again, they give most of the color variations. Not all, but just about all. Just to give you an idea of what options were available. Again, the pricing is pretty much irrelevant. Pricing changes so much year by year. So once again, I want to thank you so much for tuning in and letting me share with you my latest thrift store finds. If you liked the video, please like the video and we'll keep them coming. Until next time, this is your Toy Whisperer signing off from Old Toy, New Joy.